The Botanical Garden is the latest addition to LEGO's Ideas line, and it ends up being the second largest LEGO Ideas set released by part count, coming just behind the McAllister home from Home Alone. It's a sprawling build that fills the better part of two 32 by 32 base plates. That gives us a lot to explore, so hey, let's take a closer look. Thank you to LEGO for sending me this early to review. You're going to be able to pick this up starting on November 1st from LEGO.com. When this showed up in the mail, I was pretty astounded by the size of this. You're looking at 3,792 pieces. One thing that I noticed right away too, and you can see this spelled out in the instruction booklet, is that the final set has changed drastically from the initial ideas submission, which was a much more vertical model. The major perk of that pretty substantial change is that you can fit a lot more plants into this larger, flatter building that has a lot more floor space. And I think that makes for a pretty positive change overall. But what I was really surprised by is that this is no longer designed to fit in with a modular street like the initial fan submission was. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because this is constructed on 32 by 32 base plates, just like the modular buildings. But no, there's no sidewalk that lines up and there's no connection points on the side of the building. And granted, this doesn't really fit into the same, style as the modular buildings. It would look a bit out of place, but I think a lot of people are going to want to put this right into their city anyway. For the sake of comparison, here is the police station side by side with the Botanical Gardens. Yeah, very, very different layouts, of course. I still think a lot of people will want to display these side by side. As to be expected with a set like this, you're getting tons of minifigures. Now, I'm not much of a minifigure expert, so I can't really tell you if there's any new recolors in the hair pieces or even new torso prints, but one minifigure that definitely stands out to me is a guy who looks suspiciously like Chris McVeigh, which leads me to believe he is a designer on this set. Interestingly, in the instruction manual, there is no direct credit to a specific LEGO designer. I've been told that LEGO will be stepping away from that format, probably entirely from now on, because the LEGO designer is only a small piece of the puzzle. It seems unfair to highlight only them when there's a lot more people involved in bringing a set to life. One of the best parts of the instruction booklet is just a little reference to the plants that you'll find inside the Botanical Garden and what these brick-built plants are trying to represent. Very nice to see. And now, if there's one thing you want out of a Botanical Garden set, it's a lot of plants, and I think on that front this set does not disappoint. Right here at the entrance you can already see flowers all over the place. You're seeing lots of instances and recolors of the relatively new 1x1 flower element here, but also there is a new tulip piece which is included in this set in two colors. You get it in yellow off here on this side, and then there's also a smaller bunch of it in pink on the far left side. There's also plenty of wildlife included in the set, especially birds. You get quite a few here, including this light yellow bird. And then it looks like we get a reappearance of the Dungeons & Dragons CMF bird up here, which is great to see. He's got a little extra printing on his head, which is really cute. Nicely, for an almost 4,000 piece set, the building is finished up around the back and looks just as presentable as it does around the front side. There's a few little added details here too, like a little eating area for the cafe that we'll take a look at in a minute. And then on the other side, you have a little more of a maintenance space with some tools and then a hose as well for watering the many, many plants in this set. But anyway, let's journey on in to the garden. You can access the build's interior by removing these roof sections, which it is worth pointing out that a new element was developed specifically for this set. That's going to be these corner glass panel pieces, which line up with the existing curved windscreen. Adds a ton to this set, and there's a bunch of them included. Right as you come inside the building, there is a ticket station. At this desk, you'll find 2 of the set's 5 stickers, and even the most avid sticker haters amongst you can probably cope with all 5 of those throughout the 4,000 pieces in this set. There's some little headphones attached to the wall so you could have like an audio narrated experience as you walk through the gardens. And then you'll see off there on the right side is a new printed 1x1 tile. It's just a little info plaque, and you'll see that dotted around the interior here. There's just a variety of great techniques on display here for all the very small plants, making great use of a lot of recent recolors, but also relatively new elements to the LEGO portfolio. Something that definitely catches my eye are the little pink flowers here off on the left, using the little antenna array, which I believe was introduced with the classic Space CMF from earlier this year. Very fun parts usage, and looks fairly organic too. The far back side of the garden is a little bit more densely packed and a little harder to see into, but thankfully there's an easy solution for removing some of these larger tree elements here, like this geared up palm, which looks pretty cool, with the Donkey Kong leaves here in olive green. That's great stuff. And I especially like this tree here. It's got a very muted color scheme, once again, with the sand green and the dark tan. But there's actually enough color consistency throughout here to make it pretty believable and work pretty well. It's just very organic, great parts usage throughout. Removing those will give us a better look at what's behind. You see a lot more clever parts usage, of course. One of my favorite things here is just the various mushroom shapes and colors you get behind the trees. And of course, above all this is just a little overlook to get a little closer look at those taller trees that we removed. The quarter spiral staircase is a really nice touch. I think that looks quite fancy, but is surprisingly sturdy, all things considered. The floor is all completely tiled off, which is definitely one of the most laborious parts of the building process, but it looks really nice altogether. It's also dotted with plenty of 2x2 jumpers, so you can pose minifigures in here without having to worry about them falling down. If we head on over here to the right, you're gonna get to the cafe. The cafe is really hard to see from above, but thankfully you can actually remove this wall panel entirely to get a lot better access to what's going on inside. The cafe is serving up some coffee and then also some baked goods as well, and you can take your food outside to enjoy it in this little eating area. Worth noting that there is another bird out there, this time in red. Great stuff. I love when we have removable wall sections like that. I think that's something a lot of sets could benefit from, even the modular buildings. On the opposite side, we get more plants. This is going to be the arid garden. There's going to be a lot more desert flora over here. And much like the opposite side, it is a bit hard to access, but you can remove the back wall by that little maintenance area to see inside here a little better. Lots of cool recolors going on to make these cacti happen. And these are probably some of my favorite plants in the whole build. One last thing to note about this side in particular is in the roof section, there is yet another light yellow bird there in a little indoor nest, which I think is very cute and quite fitting for a space like this. LEGO is always trying to cook up new ways to make trees, and this set, of course, gave them plenty of opportunities to do so with the ones inside, but there's also this nice red tree out front. One of my favorite parts about this tree is the little beetle print included in here. I think that's new, at least as far as I'm aware. Lovely little addition. It will be great for plenty of other mocks in the future too. You know, it's kind of remarkable how quickly I can go through a set, you know, that has 3,792 pieces. It's really quite basic and simple, and there is no doubt in my mind that it is very well designed. It's very clean, very beautiful. It's a lot of fun to put together. There's just so much variety, especially when it comes to the plants. And anyone who gets this set will probably enjoy it very, very much. As an addition to a city, it's going to be a beautiful, vibrant display piece. But the question must be asked, did it have to be this big? Two 32 by 32 base plates is absolutely ridiculous. Even shaving off an extra 16 studs on one side would have made this feel a lot more manageable, and I still think you could have packed a lot of what this has to offer onto a smaller footprint. And I kind of feel like you get more value and fun out of a $200 modular building. I think this is an absolutely lovely set, but I'm left to question, when will the LEGO Ideas size bloat come to an end? With the news that the total piece count has been increased for LEGO Ideas submissions, I'm worried that we're going to continue to see just more and more unnecessarily large sets. But anyway, I'm curious to hear what you think about this. How we looking size-wise? Too big? Too small? Just right? Let me know about it in the comments. Thank you as always for watching. I hope you have yourself a great life, and I will see you again soon.